Okay, moving into math, we are moving on to lesson 25. Okay, and we tore out the whole lesson from our workbook, so just leave those pages in order. You can set the 533 page off to the side. We're going to start on 535. Okay, now we're going to use the comparing signs, greater than, less than, equal to compare fractions. So we've spent the last few weeks talking about fractions. Now we're going to start comparing them. Okay, so remember, this symbol right here, it's kind of like you're making an L, so that means less than. The opposite one is greater than, okay? And then equal to means they are equivalent, right? Oops, sorry. Okay, let's look at this problem together. Erica and Ethan have same-sized glasses. Erica's glass is 4/6 full of juice. Ethan's glass is 5/6 full of juice. Compare 4/6 and 5/6 using less than, greater than, or equal to. Who has more juice? Can I teach you a trick?
Yeah.
Do you like tricks that help you figure things out easier? I know I do. Look at the denominators. Do you remember which one is the denominator?
The bottom.
The bottom number is the denominator. What do you notice about the denominators?
They're the same.
Are they?
Yeah.
Okay. So if the denominators are the same, all we have to look at is the numerator. So if you have 4 and 5, is 4 less than, greater than, or equal to 5? What is it? 4 is less than 5, right? Now, I know that 4/6 is less than 5/6.
That was easy.
Now, I could have drawn a picture. To show 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Does that show me the same thing? 4/6 is less than 5/6? Yeah, but when they have the same denominator, all I have to look at is the numerator. So this symbol going this way means what? Less than. Okay. So who had more juice? We forgot to talk about that before I erased it. Who has more juice? Erica with 4/6 or Ethan with 5/6? Ethan had more juice, didn't he? Okay. So when the denominator of a fraction is the same and we have to compare them, what do we look at again? The numerators. All right. Let's look at part 2 on the back of that. So you can use the symbols less than, greater than, or equal to compare fractions just as you did to compare whole numbers. Remember that the symbol opens to the greater fraction. Remember that little number always wants to eat that bigger number. Okay? So it opens to the greater fraction and it points, like the arrow points to the lesser fraction. So if this is a bigger number over here, if this is the greater fraction and this is the lesser fraction, you would say this number is greater than this number, okay? But like if this was 1/4 and this was 3/4, we would say 1/4 is less than 3/4. All right, so just a quick reminder, the way this one goes means less than, because it makes kind of a squished L. If it's open this way, it's greater than. The equal sign means it's equal to. They are equivalent. All right, so let's look at this. Here we're going to use words to complete this. Over here we're going to use the symbols to complete this. All right, here we go. There it is. 1/2 is greater than, or less than, greater than, or equal to 1/3. Look at the cups over here. They are showing us, they're helping us out. So is 1/2 greater than? Is it less than, or is it equal to? Is it the same amount? What word do we need to write here? Or what words do we need to write? Greater than. One half is greater than 1/3. So which symbol do I need to use? This first one, this second one, or the equal to? Yeah, the second one, because if I draw dots to show which one is the bigger number, it's 1/2. And then if I connect those, it's like that 1/3 wants to eat 1/2 to get bigger. Okay, we're going to do the same thing. Words and then symbol. 1/4 is less than, greater than, or equal to 1/2. Less than, isn't it? There's less in this cup than there is in that, or in that glass. So less than. Words first, Mrs. Lofink. So less than. Then the symbol that can make the L is the one I need to use. So it's pointing to the smaller number, opened to the big number. Use words and a symbol to compare 1/2 and 1/2. What do you notice? What are they? Equal to. So what symbol do I need to use? The equal sign, don't I? Okay, so now when you would have to do this work on your own, comparing them, what's going to help you remember which way the symbol needs to go? How are you going to remember if it goes this way or this way? Like that this symbol means less than, and this symbol means greater than. How can you remember that? Because I'm not always going to be standing up here helping you remember which symbol is which, am I? Write down what you're going to do to help you remember which symbol is which one is the greater than symbol, which one is the less than symbol. Okay, did everybody get that written?
Yeah.
All right, just slide that paper off to the side.
Do we have to do this one by the...
Still need the rest of your pages though that we tore out.
That's the only one. No. We tore out.
Friends, we tore out all of lesson 25. Those of you that were listening, you have all of your pages torn out through 540, what was it?
548.
48?
Yeah.
Okay, so now we're ready to do some comparing of fractions that have different denominators. Okay, so we're ready to look at page 539. 539 has the oranges at the bottom there.
That looks like a flower.
Okay. Now they want us to compare 4/8 and 4/6. Different denominators. So I can't just look at my numerators now, can I? Because that's not going to help me out. But you want to know another trick?
What?
Looking at these denominators. This one is split into 8 parts, and this one is split into 6 parts. Now, do you remember what happens to those fraction pieces when the number gets bigger? Do you remember that? When we were looking at fractions using,
One?
I don't know where I put them, the fraction magnets, those fraction bars. I don't remember where I put them.
You don't remember those like theories, but oh, now I.
Okay, so if I have 2 fraction bars and one is split into 6 pieces, okay, there's my 6 pieces for that one. I'm going to split this one into 8 pieces. I know how to do this. I'm seeing a lot of you just watching. Should you be working through these with me? Yeah, that's the point of this, friends. I already passed 3rd grade math. I got it figured out. So I have my halfway points lined up with each other. So this one is 4/6 and the other one is 4/8. They both have the same numerator, right? But what happens to all the pieces when our denominator gets bigger? If the denominator's bigger, the pieces are smaller. When the denominator has a smaller number, the pieces are bigger. Do you notice that?
Yeah.
This is 4/6, and this one is 4/8. All right, so now, if I compare these 2 fractions, 4/8 and 4/6, is 4/8 less than, greater than, or equal to 4/6? Based on what we showed right here. Because this is 4/6, this is 4/8. Is 4/6 less than 4/8? Is it greater than or is it equal to? What is it, everybody?
Greater than.
4/6 is greater than 4/8, but how I have it written there, 4/8 is less than 4/6. 1 point over here because it's the smaller number, 2 over here because it's the bigger number, and then you can connect them if you need that visual. Or you could have the smaller number eating the bigger number.
How did you do it?
All right. So they're showing us the same thing, but they're using a different model than what I had used to show you that. Okay? The models are the same size. The whole thing is the same size. Is that important when we're comparing fractions?
Yes.
Yes. They have to be the same shape and they have to be the same size. Okay, so exactly the same size. What do you notice about the pieces inside the eighths? They're smaller than the sixth pieces, aren't they? All right, so this one is 4/8, this one is 4/6. Does this show that 4/6 is bigger? That there's more of it? Yeah. Same with a number line. 4/6 is further over, closer to the 1 whole than the 4/8 is. All right, let's do the connect it part on page 541. Okay, so how can you use those models from the picture it right here? Okay. How can you use those to compare 4/8 and 4/6? How do those models help us? Amy?
To show which one's bigger and which one's not.
Right, it shows us which one has more, like colored in, right?
Yeah.
Okay. How else? What were some of you others thinking? I thought I saw another hand somewhere. Connor?
That that it would, because the squares are bigger and then the other one's smaller, so then 6/4 is greater than 4/8.
Okay. So when we look at models, do we first need to make sure that they're the same size and the same shape? Yeah. Okay. And then exactly like what they had said, look to see which one, is broken up into smaller pieces, and then look to see which one has more colored in, which is what we just talked about. All right, we're not going to write things down for that. Okay. We would do the same thing for the number lines then, friends. We have to look to make sure that the number lines are split up into those equal parts. Okay, so we have 1 whole on each of them. This one's broken up into how many equal parts? 8. And this one needs to be broken into 6 equal parts. Then wherever I plot that, wherever I put that dot for each of those, then I can see which one is closer to being 1 whole. That tells me which one is greater. All right, so with words, remember doing this on a couple pages before? Compare with words. 4/8 is, what did we say? Is 4/8 less than 4/6? Is it greater than 4/6? Or was it equal to? Do you remember which one it was? 4/8 is, what should we write there, everyone? less than 4/6. So now I'm using the symbol, the less than symbol. Remember, the point of it always is going to go to the smaller number. The open part is going to go to the bigger number. All right? So, is this the smaller number?
Yes.
Or is this the smaller number? This one is the smaller number, right? Okay. So that is less than. Remember, the less than can make like an L. Little fish wants to eat the big fish. Okay, so now we're going to switch the order of those two fractions. Now we're going to say 4/6, and over here, 4/8. 4/6 is it still less than 4/8? Is it greater than 4/8, or is it equal to now? It's greater than. So words first, greater than. And then the symbol next. 4/6 is greater than. It's still going to be open to that big number. 4/6 is greater than 4/8. Amy?
With like, it can all, like, know how like you did like the fish eats the other number?
Yes.
It could be like the, like Pac-Man is eating the.
Exactly. You could create it as Pac-Man. All right, now I'm going to have you turn and talk in just a second about number 5 here. Explain how to use symbols. So the greater than, less than. Mainly those. I think those are more confusing for when we have to write them. So I'm going to have you explain how to use those symbols when you compare fractions. How do you know which symbol you need to use when? Okay, so let's do you two, you two, you two, you two. Okay, talk to your partner about that. I'm going to give you 90 seconds.
So if there is like there's one that has different denominators, but the numerators are the same, yeah. Then the smaller one has to then you have to do that one to the smallest. If it's on that side, then you have to do less than and then greater than. The small ones on this side is 8. This is 7 is then the numerator and then denominator is less than this. 2 4. Then the other time it can move up this and this is greater than this. Yeah. Like if the numerator is different, you can just look at the numerator. Say this is like greater than this. It can be like this is less than this. And it can also be equal to.
Okay, everybody finished up? All right, so now thinking back to like the models that they show, so like the models here, the number lines, do you have a way that you prefer one over the other to help you compare fractions? One that you're more comfortable using? Okay. Does it matter if yours is different from somebody else's in the room? No. Whatever you're most confident and most comfortable using, use it. If you like number lines better, use number lines. If you like to draw out, those models, do that. All right? Okay, so now, look at page 542. Is that a new page or the back side of a page? Back side, perfect. You're going to shade in, which means you're going to color in the models to help you out here. Friends, here's what I suggest though. If you start coloring at the top on this one, color at the top on the next one. If you start coloring at the bottom and go up, do the same thing on this model so you can see them side by side. Okay, so on this first one, how much of this model do we need to color? 4. We're going to color 4 of those 6 parts. So do that right now. On the one beside it, how many should you color? 2. Should I start coloring up here, friends? No. Color from the same direction, whether you started at the top and went down or at the bottom and went up. Okay, now we're going to use the symbol less than, greater than, or equal to. Is 4/6 less than 2/6? Is it less than 2/6? Is it greater than 2/6? Or is it equal to? Greater than. So find the bigger number and have it opened up to that big number. Oops, I did it wrong. I was thinking 4/6 was on the other side. Sorry. Okay, let's come over to 2/8 and 2/2. Of this 2/8, what do we need to shade in? 2 of them. Could I do these 2? Across the bottom here? Sure. Could I do these 2 here? Oops, I'm going to do it since I started doing a big line there. All right, now come over here. Shade in, how many of these 2 need colored in?
1.
Both of them. It says 2 of those 2 need colored in. Do you see which one is bigger?
Yep.
Okay, so which one is greater? The 2/2, right? So 2/8 is greater than 2/2? Or 2/8 is less than 2/2? Okay, so 2/8 is less than, remember, can you make an L with your left hand? That tells you which direction your symbol needs to go. So 2/8 is less than 2/2. Is that opening up to the bigger number? Yeah. Okay, look at this last one. 1/2. So how much of this one do I need to shade in? 1. What about over here? Also 1. What do you notice about those 2 models? They are equal to each other. Okay, on part 8, we're comparing using the symbols, but we're using a number line this time. All right. So if we look at this top number line, how many equal parts is it split up into? Because there's only one whole. So count the equal parts with me. Do I count 0?
No.
No. So the next one is 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, so I'm going to label this one up on top here. What's this first line here? 1/4. What's the next one?
2/4.
After that? 3/4. Yeah, and then that one would also be 4/4 if I were going to write it as a fraction. I could label it if I wanted to. Let's come down to this next one underneath it. Count the parts with me. I don't count 0 though. 1, 2, 3. So let's label that. This first one is 1/3, then 2/3, followed by 3/3. Look at this first comparison here. 3/4. Oh, 3/4. What are they? Are they the same? So what do we put for our symbol? The equal sign, because they are equal to. 3/4 is equal to 3/4. All right, find 2/4 on that top number line. And then find 2/3 on the one underneath it. Is 2/4 less than 2/3 or is it greater than 2/3? Looking at where they're located on that number line, I think it is less than. Remember, you can make the less than symbol with your left hand. It creates that L. So 2/4 is less than 2/3. Okay, now looking at this bottom number line, 2/3 is less than, greater than, or equal to 1/3. So here we have 2/3. Back here we have 1/3. Is 2/3 less than 1/3? Look at our denominators. Are they the same?
Yes.
So now think about 2 and 1. Is 2 greater than 1 or is 2 less than 1?
Greater.
Greater. So my arrow is going to open up to that bigger number. It's greater than 1. Show me how you would solve this one. Manny and Sarah are reading the same book. Manny has read 5/8 of the book. Sarah has read 5/6 of the book. You're going to compare 5/8 and 5/6 using greater or less than, greater than, or equal to. How would you solve this one? They don't have the same denominators, do they? So what would you do to help yourself figure out how to solve this one? Show me on your paper. If you're doing models, do they need to be the exact same size? Yep, so make sure that they're the same size. You can't compare a square to a rectangle. I think I see most everybody doing things like this. So make sure that your rectangles, mine are not completely even, but make sure that your rectangles are the same size and as close to the same shape as possible. If you're doing a number line, that's fine too. But your number lines need to be labeled very carefully. Okay, let me show you a quick trick. When your denominators are different, but your numerators are the same, which one's going to have bigger pieces? The 8 or the 6? The 6 is. So if the numerators are the same, but the denominators are different, you're going to go with the one that has the smaller denominator because those pieces are bigger. So let's look at this. If I have 5 of each one of these, what is that? 4, 5, 2, 4, 5. See my bigger pieces? I'm going to get more, right? My smaller pieces, if my numerator's the same, I'm not going to get as much. So my bigger number is the 5/6. How did you do on your symbol? Did you get it or no?
Yeah.
Be honest, yes or no? Because there's no in between. You either got it or you didn't, right? Okay, so if you have 5 of the 8 pieces and 5 of the 6 pieces, you have more with those 5/6 than you do the 5/8. Okay. Let me look through here. Let's do this. We're going to do some partner work. Okay?
For the rest of it? Or just
For the